button.
Recording in progress.
Go live on Facebook. Let's get this party started. I realize that this is abnormal. For me to be hanging out with you guys on a Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard. But creating partnerships and bigger profits. But we have something else planned for tomorrow, and I wanted to get this in. I wanted to make sure I added this value this week for you guys. So that's why we're doing it. So here we are. Share to my group. Where financial pros become CEOs, go live. I'm going to move this because I realize my camera is actually zooming in on that and not me. I might actually finish doing my makeup while we're sitting here while we're talking. How's everybody doing? We have probably a light crew today because I realized that this is an abnormal time for me to be going live, for me to be hosting a meeting. But I want to thank you all for jumping on kind of impromptu and coming on to hang out with us in a time I'm not typically live. Not typically doing a Zoom meeting. I realize 11 is not our normal time. If you are interested in signing up for our marketing meetings, we're typically doing those marketing meetings. They happen at 11 or at 1 p.m. on Wednesdays. They happen at 1 p.m. on Wednesdays. So if you are interested in doing those, they happen at 1 p.m. on Wednesdays, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard. And we will be here tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard as well. We're actually going to be on with Roger Connect. And we're going to be talking about something similar. But I wanted an opportunity to talk about this today because I think it's really important. I think it's an important conversation to have sooner than later. And I'm going to look a little crazy while we're doing this today because I'm going to finish my makeup while we talk, if that's okay with everybody. Is that okay with everybody if I look a little crazy while we talk today? Good. Yeah. And while we're talking about creating better partnerships with your clients, if you guys end up with any questions, or you guys have anything that you specifically want to talk about, feel free to put any questions. I really want to workshop this. I want you guys to feel like this is something that we can have kind of a conversation about. So add anything in the chat. Do me a favor, don't unmute yourself. But add anything into the chat for me, and I am happy to answer any questions about this. And so today's topic specifically is how we are going to go into 2023. Tiffany, I'm going to add you as a co-host so you can add people into the room for me if you don't mind. So we're going to go into 2023 with creating more partnerships with our clients. And what is this going to do for us? Ultimately, what I want this to do for you, what I want this to do for your clients is I want it to increase profitability of you and your clients. Does this make sense? Do you see how we can do this? And why is this important to me right now? Why am I bringing this up? Because what I see happening right now in the market, what I see people talking about automating. I see people talking about deep fakes. What do I mean by deep fake? Have you guys heard people talking about AI, right? You see people talking about AI, ChatGPT. They're talking about how to make things easier on themselves by creating things that are in a more automated way, right? How can I be less human, right? Are you guys seeing this? You guys know what I'm talking about? And do me a favor, guys. I want to be able to see your faces. I want to like see some head nods and some bobs, right? Otherwise, I don't know who I'm talking about and what we're talking about. Oh, thank you, Erie. I know. I'm going for a new look this year of mood lighting. I might change the lighting once in a while too. Do we look crazy so far? Do I look a little robotic? We looking, what is the word? Snatched. No. Right. So people are getting lazier. They want to automate things. They want to make it as easy as possible on them. And what do I think this means for the accounting industry? Right? What do I think this means for the accounting industry? Well, I think it means, and I had this conversation with somebody recently where they were like, well, accountants ultimately, accountants and bookkeepers ultimately, what's going to happen for you guys with this automation, right? What's going to happen? You guys, your jobs are going to be automated, right? Everybody can just essentially automate your job, right? We're going to see this happen. So why is it going to be so important for you to create partnerships? Because people are going to crave it more and more. And when I see people going one way, right? Everybody's looking for automation. Everybody's looking for deep fakes. They're going to use AI. They're going to use more tech to automate everything. I'm going to go the exact opposite direction. And I suggest that you guys do the same, right? And I talked about this actually yesterday or the day before on a boot camp call. I can't remember what I talk about these things. I talk about this crap all the time, right? I suggest you do the same. If you see something happening in an industry where everybody's going in a certain direction, just do the opposite of them, right? Do the opposite, literally. And so I'm going to pull up some notes here on I'm going to share my screen here in a second. Let me finish. I don't know. This is going to be good enough. I'll finish my makeup later, but this is good enough, right? Is this good enough? We good enough for today, for now? I'll do mascara. I'll do all that later. We don't need to do it now. Okay. So thanks for bearing with me on that. Let's share my screen. Human connections cannot be beat. Yes. Exactly. So before I share my screen, I want to rewind. I want to tell you guys that I was never, ever fired by a client in my bookkeeping, accounting, and outsourced CFO services. Never one time was I fired. Why do I think that was? Because I focused on building relationships. Not only do we focus on getting results for our clients, but we focus on building relationships. And I thought about this morning as I prepared for this call, as I thought about this call and what value I wanted to bring to you guys today and what I was going to lean into. I thought about, well, what do I think was so impactful about what I did, right? What did I do that really resonated? I built relationships with my clients. I wasn't just their bookkeeper. I wasn't just their accountant. I wasn't just their CFO, but I was their coach. I was their mentor. I was a person that they could rely on. They built a relationship with me. And so what happens, and you may have heard me talk about this before, what happens is when we get results, what we get dopamine hits from results, right? You guys are familiar with this. You get a dopamine hit when you get a result, right? You get the result, you get a dopamine hit, and it's quick. It's a quick dopamine hit, and you're like, okay, great, I got the result. And whoever helped you get that result, you're happy, you're excited about them, but ultimately, you don't have a strong bond with that person. You're just like, great, that person helped me get it. And if that person doesn't continue to get you the result, or you see someone else who could potentially get you a better result, guess what? You're going to move on to the next big dopamine hit because we crave the dopamine hit. But what creates consistent streams of dopamine. What creates consistent streams of dopamine? Love, right? Trust, relationships. Adam says cocaine. I don't recommend cocaine in this situation, but connection, right? Feeling connected, communication, that creates consistent streams of dopamine. And so, love, right? And so, what if you could create a consistent stream of dopamine, a dopamine hit consistently with your clients, so they didn't feel as though in order to get their next fix, they had to go hire somebody else. They had to go get the next result with someone else, but they could just come straight to you. Because anytime they had a next good idea or they saw a way to increase their revenue or they saw a way to increase their profitability, they said, "Hey, Sarah, I saw this. Do you think we could do this together?" And you were like, "Yes, I know how to do that." Or, "Yeah, let's research how to do that together." Right? Because you have a bond now, you have a partnership. And this is what we've developed. I developed that with my bookkeeping and accounting clients. But then what happens is I've also developed this in my coaching business. Or people are saying, "Hey, Alyssa, I want to do a 5-day challenge. You've done 5-day challenges, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I have. I've done a lot of 5-day challenges very profitably." And instead of going out and buying the next 5-day challenge program, what they do is they come to me because I have a relationship with them. I have a bond with them and they want my support, right? Because I am the stream of love and trust. And they know that they can get that support from me. And so what does this do for you? It creates forever clients, right? And isn't that what you want? It gives you the ability to charge more, increase your profitability. Because when you are the person that could always be relied on and they're coming to you for more things, they're coming to your team for more things, for more value based on your brain. I got to fix my camera because I feel like I'm might be new lighting. When they're coming to you based on your brain, based on your education, based on your knowledge and expertise, and not just based on turning over taxes, bookkeeping, not based on the hard, tactical, practical. Not based on those hard skills, but more of the soft skills, right? Based on your soft skills, based on who you are as a person. That's when you evoke higher fees. That's what it is. And so many people, number one, you're either not doing this and you don't know the last time you've talked to most of your clients, right? There's two camps of this we're going to talk about right now. There's two camps. You either don't know the last time you've talked to your clients. You might be guilty. Yeah, I send them reports every month, but I barely talk to them. I do the work. I send it out. Their stuff is done, but I barely talk to them, right? You're in that camp where you just turn and burn them. Or you're in the camp of you're already doing this. You're already building the relationships and you don't realize how valuable your soft skills are, your partnership skills are. And you could be charging more because you just need to repackage it and reframe it as an advisory level skill. I'm your advisor. I'm a trusted advisor, right? Reframe and repackage. Now, a lot of people ask me, well, what did it look like for you to be a CFO for these clients, right? And so that's what I was going to talk about today. What does it actually look like? What does it look like to be an advisor to a client? And I was going to give you guys some examples of this. Does that sound like something you guys would want to hear more about? Like, what does it actually look like? What are some examples of advisory level services that you are providing that evoked this, your higher level fees? Okay, let's talk about it then. First, let me find this dang document that I just had, and then let's put that there. I'm going to share my screen 2. Okay, right here. Y'all can see this, right? Sharing screen. Okay. All right. So what are we going to do? I'm going to bring this a little closer to me so I can type. So in a lot of these cases, number one, I think we overthink this, right? I think people tend to overthink this. They think they need to take some type of high level CFO, some sort of program, right? They're like, oh, I need to learn all of these new skills. I need to learn all of these things. Most of the time, what I find is most of these people just need somebody to bounce their ideas off of, and they just need to understand their business more. Or most of you could just tell them what's going on in their business by looking at their actual numbers, right? By actually just paying attention to what is happening in their business. So some of this like really starts from the very beginning, right? So what's the best way to describe this? You know what? Let me start from the beginning. Let's do this from the very beginning. So this was my process. If I brought on a new client today, if I were going to start all over again, and if I was going to partner with a client at an increased profitability, right? You think that's the best way to do this? I think it's the best way. Okay. If I was going to start from the very beginning, so I have a brand new client who wants to work with me, and I'm like, listen, we need to start right from the beginning. Maybe let's come up with a scenario. The scenario is that I'm going to think of a client that I had. The scenario is that they had not done their taxes or any of their bookkeeping for about 2 years, right? This was my forte. This was like my thing. I built relationships with people who didn't really they were kind of like a mess, right? But they trusted me, because how did they build trust with me? I would do this, right? Just the same way you guys are trusting me right now. I would do this. I'd come on here. I would just be my authentic self. I didn't have this perfect script laid out, but I would just give value, right? So no different from what we're doing right now. I'd jump on, I'd go live, I would give them some sort of value about what we could do to clean up their mess, right? And it was always met with non-judgment. They felt as though they could trust me. They felt as though I would be a partner in their company. And so that's what you're going to do, right? And this is the mafia marketing strategies that we're teaching you guys in 30-day Moneymaker Bootcamp, in our marketing master, or in our Moneymaker Mastermind, right? So stuff that you can easily get from us. So number one, we have to do typically I would start from the beginning. I never did cleanups, but what I did was catch up, right? Catch everything up. And so we needed clarity, right? So we can get clarity. And so I would let them know, like, listen, girlfriend, we need clarity. We got to get completely clear on what's going on. I have to understand where you are right now. And you guys know that, right? You have to understand where they are right now. And I would hold their hand the entire way. So by holding their hand, early and often in the beginning phases. Why is this important? Because I just asked them for a lot of money. In many cases, I asked for $6,000+ down, right? right? So if I'm asking for a lot of money down, I'm going to make sure I hold their hand early and often in the very beginning. Maybe on a weekly basis, we're touching base, right? And giving updates on progress and asking for more information, right? And this is early and often. And then that can move to almost like a biweekly, and then it go to a monthly, right? And so you move this out into, say the plan is to get everything caught up. If you have this situation, I want to give you, this is what I tell my mastermind clients. If you are catching something up, do it in phases where you are giving progress updates on a very consistent basis. There is a thought process that I hear often in the accounting community that's like, oh, suddenly their emergency becomes my emergency. Fuck yes, it does. Yes, it does. Their emergency is your emergency now. They have been panic stricken and have anxiety about their money. Yes, now it is your problem. Now it is your emergency, right? Treat them with empathy and compassion. If you don't have empathy and compassion for these people who typically have some sort of money anxiety, who are literally staying up at night, yes, should they have put themselves in that situation? No, they shouldn't have. But now you've decided to partner with them. If you don't have the empathy and compassion to bring on somebody in this scenario, don't do it. Don't do it. Walk away. Say, I don't have empathy and compassion for you. I did. That's why I work with these people, because I had empathy and compassion to say, I understand that you've been crying because you've been in this situation and your husband's been in a bad situation and you've been terrified to file your taxes because you don't know how much you're going to owe. And so you've been staying awake every night. And so you finally decided to take this action. I'm going to have empathy and compassion. I'm going to hold your hand. I'm going to be here with you. And my team's going to be here with you. If you don't have empathy and compassion and to partner with these people, don't do it. You guys got that? Not enough people are saying this to you guys in this industry, and I'm going to, and I'm giving you some tough love right now, but it's so infuriating to see the lack of human characteristics, the lack of empathy, the lack of compassion in the industry. It's so frustrating. And it's one of the reasons I almost walked away. It's one of the reasons, because I was like, why are you all just assholes? Like, why do we need to be assholes to people? I felt bad for these people. And I've been there, by the way. I've been there. I've been someone who's terrified of filing my taxes, even though I know this stuff. You guys get this? Is this making sense? Okay, love this. Okay, perfect. All right, so this is one of the ways that I focused on partnering with my client to make sure that I built a relationship with them early, right? We became besties early. So once we get, I'm bringing this up, this part, come up with a game plan of when you are going to set deadlines. So maybe it's every month you finish one quarter. By the way, you will never do your own catch-up work. It does not make sense on a physical timeline. You do not have time to do it. You have got to outsource this. It must be outsourced. I have never met an accountant, bookkeeper, financial, anything that has the ability to market themselves, do sales, review accounts, be a partner to their clients, and also do catch-up work. You are not physically capable. There is not enough time in the day. And also, by the way, you have to feed yourself, sleep, take care of a family, typically, anything else. You don't have the time. There is way too much going on. This is a full-time job right here, right? This is a full-time job. So you're not going to do it. You're going to outsource it. When you bring this job on, you bring it on with the thought process, I will need to outsource this work. If you don't want to outsource the work, don't take it on. It's not for you. Got it? Find somebody to help you with catch-up work. Okay. Do you guys understand why? Do I need to explain that further? Do you understand the timeline of like doing catch-up work and also trying to meet deadlines of that client so they can trust you and also continue to market yourself and do sales? Does everybody get that? I know my mastermind clients are all like, yep, we understand, but maybe there's some people who don't necessarily. By the way, there is no such thing as a 100% profit margin business. Yes. So in my case, so say I had this client, and so the client I'm talking about, I want to say in this scenario, they had it was a smaller job. They were 2 years behind. I think I want to say I ended up charging like 6 to 7K, and I let them pay in a split payment. It was like 3,500 down, and then I let them pay another 3,500 or something like that. And it was probably only going to take us, I want to say, about 8 weeks to do everything, because I was a fast worker, right? My team was fast and I knew we could do it. I had Lindsay who worked for me. I paid her $25 an hour. Keep in mind that she was a CPA. This was back in 2018. So this is in 2018. I paid her $25 an hour to do the work. She probably maybe I paid her a total of $500 to $600 to complete all of the work. It didn't include, now this doesn't include, again, all of the time I put in, all of my efforts, right? So maybe if we said that I cost like $250 an hour, right? But I'm paying myself, I don't know how many hours I put into this specific job. I really don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't remember at all. But that being said, my profit margins were still really good. She paid for her own QuickBooks subscription. We had to use, it's rebranded. I can't think of the name of it now, but it's completely rebranded when you take paper documents and you put it in and scan it, and then it turns them into, I don't know the name of it, but that was the only piece of tech we needed to pay for out of pocket. So my profit margin was still really great on this, but the most, I don't know, it wasn't called Money Thumb. Keep in mind, this is a piece of technology from 2018. It may not even exist anymore. I don't know what it's called. It might've been HubDoc. So I think it was HubDoc. So that being said, my profit margins on this were still really good. So find somebody you can trust, $25, $30 an hour, right? She was local to me also. So she could actually come to my house, like pick up paperwork. I would meet her for coffee. We would talk about our clients. We would talk about who we were working on. She was a stay-at-home mom, so she was just looking for extra work to do. You can look in moms groups, things like that, right? And I ended up giving her all my bookkeeping clients too. She took over all my bookkeeping clients. She actually might still work with the client that I'm talking about in this scenario. She might still do their bookkeeping to this day. So this was the engagement that we took on. And then after that, once this engagement is over, the cleanup, catch-up work to get everything done, to get us caught up, then I would quote them on a monthly basis if I wanted to keep them on as a client. If this engagement was garbage, if it was trash, if it was a terrible working relationship, I would just be like, that was fun. See you later. Right? Because I like to have an off ramp. I chose to give myself an off ramp. I didn't need to always have a way to work with people. If I wanted to not work with anybody anymore, I had that option. And there were a lot of times where I gave myself that off ramp. So, I have trainings on hiring. I've done them before. They're in our replay vault. Tiffany, if you can look for that episode for me really quick on the one where I talk about this, it's in the replay vault. And then if you want to drop the replay vault for the people looking, I talk about this. I have an entire training on it. So, let's keep going though on this. So you let them know the deadlines. You let them know how you plan to finish this work. This is a good example of this. So moving forward, right? Let's talk. This is getting things cleaned up, but how do we move forward? Let's talk about that, because many of you are probably wondering that. Like, we get clarity, right? We get clarity. We're done with that. Now, say we're working with this client on a monthly basis. What is going to be really important? Where did my checklist go? No. There we go. So on a monthly basis, how do we partner with clients? So number one, giving them the ability to schedule calls with us through a scheduling link. So this gives us boundaries, right? So you can schedule a call with me and you set your times that you want to be able to take calls with clients. You let them know, hey, you can schedule a call with me. This is the way you would do it. And that gives you the boundaries. If you let people know that there is a way to contact you if they want to talk to you, and you let them know how to do it, it eases people's mind, right? How do you feel if there's no way to contact somebody, right? Like, if you brought on, say you hire an agency, a marketing agency, and they were like, hey, marketing agency, that's awesome. We just hired you. We're paying you $5,000 to $6,000 a month to do everything. And they're like, and you're like, okay, how do I talk to you when I want to talk to you? And they're like, oh, there's no way to do it. You'd be like, I'm sorry, what? Right? Like, you want a way to talk to people, not because you always want to talk to them, but because it eases your mind to feel as though if you need to, you can, right? You just want that comfort of knowing, if I need to talk to you, I can, and I have a method to do so. So this is all this is the ability to, right? And you give them boundaries if you have something, and give them examples of why they would need to do that, right? You would schedule a call if an emergency arose where maybe you get a letter from the IRS that you needed to go over. Maybe you get a bunch of bills that you feel nervous about paying for, and you want to talk about how to prioritize paying them, right? You give them examples of that. And then the likelihood of these people actually scheduling these calls are few and far between. Then the next thing is reporting, right? So I made sure that we were always up to date on reporting and giving them updates on their financial health and wellness, right? And however you want to word this. So for us, there were some clients where I did this in person, if not in person, but on Zoom, right? If it felt as though they were a higher level client, where that was necessary, where it was just something where we had a lot to go over. We were constantly strategizing. We were constantly talking about what our next moves were, and we needed to put things in place. If we had a lot of questions about cost of goods sold, things like that, right? So that's one area to do this. So you could do this through Zoom. I need to be able to see this. I can't see my screen right here. Zoom. Maybe if this is a higher level CFO client, or you could do this through, you could just record a Loom on a monthly basis, right? And here's the thing, your higher level clients are going to be busy. And so they might prefer a Loom. Just send them over a Loom and say like, hey, name, so awesome. How's everything going? I just want to send you a quick update. Some things that you will want to do and include previous month to this month, right? Why do we want to compare? Number one, it makes you look a hell of a lot smarter. Who's doing this already? Corinne is. Yeah, I can send you guys this document. Corinne is. Trisha. When you compare numbers from previous month or previous period to current period, and you show them how they are performing, you guys, their minds are blown. Most people that are not financially savvy will be like, oh, right? It clicks for them. They have something to target. They say, I'm doing better than I was, or I'm doing worse than I was. It actually gives them an anchor, right? Give them something to anchor on. When you just give them numbers and said, this is how you did this month, they have no anchor. Give them something to anchor to, right? Do you guys get this? You have to give them a number to anchor to. And here's what I'm going to tell you. I used to do this for my boardrooms, my very, very smart, intelligent, old ass men of boardroom members. Because my boardroom, old ass men, smart, very intelligent men of boardroom members needed an anchor. They needed to see, are we doing better than last time or worse than last time, right? Even the most highly intelligent people need an anchor. They need to understand. If you just give somebody a number, they're like, okay, that's a number. But give them an anchor. Is it worse or is it better? Compare. It's going to give them a value that will make sense. And they're going to feel like, oh, okay. And then they have more goals to shoot for. They're going to want to keep doing better than last time. And you can say, hey, we want to keep doing better. Right? This is what we do right now. Right? Right now with our agency, with my ads agency said to me yesterday, hey, Alyssa, I just want to let you know, in the month of November, we did 5X ROAs. In December, we did 6X ROAs. In January, we're already at 7X ROAs. Now that's return on ad spend. We're doing better every month. That's amazing. That's great to hear. But if they just only told me every month, this month we did 5, this month we did 6, this month we did 7, and they told me that within the month, I wouldn't remember that last month we did 6 or that 2 months ago we did 5, right? Because we don't remember that stuff. We have tons of numbers that we look at as business owners. So when they compare for me and show me the numbers, I'm like, damn, we're doing really good. Things are moving along. We're making progress. And then I see them as valuable. You want them to see you as valuable, give them a reason to. Say, listen, I want to help you keep making these numbers look better. So this is what we can continue to do to improve. Does this make sense? I need to take a drink of my coffee. So you can do this with P&L, right? Profit and loss, or income statement, right? You're going to send over balance sheets. Yeah, statement of cash flows, giving them statement of cash flows. Helping your clients with cash flow is huge. So if you can work on cash flow for clients, especially small business owners, I'm going to assume most of the clients that you guys are working with are probably making less than 10 million. Um, and as a small business owner myself, I can tell you our biggest problem is cash flow. We're scaling a business and we're trying to do it in a way where cash flow is always our biggest hiccup. It's always going to be our biggest issue, right? We want to invest in our business, we want to keep growing, and cash flow is up and down. And so helping people manage cash flow is going to be huge. And so if you can work on how to leverage those skills, that's going to be massively that if you can put that in your back pocket as a way to help your clients be more successful and help them increase their cash flow, man, you will be forever valuable to your clients. Okay. And then I always say 3 to 5 tips on ways to improve, right? Always give 3 to 5 tips throughout this. Here's some things we want to do to improve. And then another thing, point out at least, point out any major, what's the word I'm looking for? Any irregularities, right? So if you notice something is, and I don't have a spreadsheet to show you this, but so if you pull up a P&L from that compares a previous period to this period, right? And you run the percentage difference and it is say 20% difference, you would want to notate that. So notate, note any 20% differences, right? So for example, an example would be if utilities is, say it goes from 300 to 600. You want to state why, right? Did you get double billed? Or this might be an error, right? This is also how you can catch your errors. And I've helped other accountants find their errors this way. I have shown other accountants how to do this and help them with CFO services and been like, this is how I used to do it. This is how I'd go through my own chart of accounts, right? And I would find mistakes for them and be like, hey, so why is this such a massive difference from last month to this month? And they'd be like, oh, shoot, that shouldn't be there, right? So this is a great way of finding your own errors. So you want to notate why. And let them know, hey, so last month your utilities were only 300, this month they're 600. You're going to notice a percentage increase here. And the reason for that is this, right? Again, this makes them feel as though they have financial clarity. They understand what's going on in their business better than they ever have. These are things you're not doing right now. And you really want to be a partner to your client so they feel as though you are invaluable to them. This is the way to do it. This is exactly what I used to do as a CFO. And I'm not talking about as a CFO just in my business. I'm talking about as a CFO. Was my role. I would go to my boardroom and let them know everything that was going on. Hey guys, our utilities were $3,000 this month compared to $25 or $2,000 last month. And the reason is this. I had to let them know all of these things. It was so important, right? Because our boardroom needed to know why our profitability wasn't the same or why it wasn't increasing, right? Okay. So, and then asking the right questions, right? So, marketing. Are you getting an ROI on that, right? Spending trends. Subscriptions. Are they all being used? Do they want to pay you an additional fee this month to go and cancel anything, right? So asking all the right questions. Hey, I noticed that you guys are paying for some of these subscriptions. Curious as to what these are. I took the liberty of looking through a bunch of these. I pulled out all of your guys' subscriptions in all of your bank accounts. They're adding up to this annualized expense. If we could cancel a couple of these, we could potentially save you this amount of money. Would that be possible? Right? Are all of these absolutely necessary? I don't see you using these. And if you're having enough conversations with these people, you might know that they're not using them. Did I share this with you guys? Did I give you guys this link? I think I copied it and then forgot to send it to you. Here it is. Okay. Is this helpful so far? You guys getting value out of this? Okay, good. Okay. All right. And notice that all of this stuff can be done on a Loom video, right? This doesn't require an additional time. And if you have the right person, right? If you have the right person doing the work, and if your time is focused here on a Loom video that takes 30 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes, and you know that all of your books are correct for all your clients, then you can go through and quickly research these things. And you could ultimately train somebody to research these things and note your accounts. So this is what I did with Lindsay is I trained her, and I trained my accountants too. As a CFO, I would train all of my support staff to give me notes. Like, hey, if you notice, if you go through our chart of accounts, if you go through our P&L and you notate if there's more than a 20% difference on anything, I want to know why. You better send me over a noted P&L and I need to know why, right? And so we trained our staff on this. This is all trainable stuff. You give me the data and then I'll just present it, right? How easy is that? Because this is not hard stuff to present. This is not hard stuff to research. And by the way, they can find their own errors when they do this. And do you all know how to review a chart of accounts? Does everyone know how to review a chart of accounts? Okay, most of you do. All right, awesome. So that was a huge part as well, getting a staff member to review your chart of accounts. If you don't have somebody to do it, it's a great way of just reviewing your chart of accounts. I would review chart of accounts from this period to previous period, just basically running through, because it's a good way to see if something got double booked, if it looks irregular, because you're basically month to month, everything should look the same, right? Your labor should look the same. If something looks off, your utility should look the same. If something is different, there's a number that's different, it's going to stand out, right? And so this is how I reviewed all of my what am I trying to think? All of my companies, when I worked as a CFO in corporate accounting as well. So, how do I get this to go back over here? What is it? Control? No. No. Backspace? I don't know. We'll just keep it right here. I'm just going to add review chart of accounts beforehand. Okay. Oh, it's the enter button. There we go. Wonder if I can do that. Oop. Nope. I'm messing everything up now. Oh, well, there we go. We'll just leave that like that. Okay. So, and allowing conversations to come up frequently and flow based on the needs of the client. Right? So, guys, a lot of the service that I provided to my clients was not based on some crazy structure. It wasn't based on like having the perfect formula or framework. A lot of times my calls with them were like, how can I further support you? Is there anything else you need or would like to see us do for you at this time? When you ask these questions frequently, when you take the temperature of what your clients are needing, they will tell you, right? Take the temperature of what your clients need, they will tell you, right? And listen closely. It doesn't need to be perfect. And by the way, like if you don't have the answers immediately, it could create an opportunity to say, I'm going to research this for you, right? And a lot of times I was met with things that I didn't have the answers to, right? And the answer was, I don't have the exact answer to that right now, but I have a huge network of accountants and financial pros that I know can help me. So I will get that info and get back to you by the end of the week. Right? All right. Yes. So Tiffany, are you still on here, hon?
Yes. Yes.
Can you grab the replay vault? Link. So a couple things. The replay is streaming live right into the Facebook group. You can go watch it there. But also, if you are subscribed to our emails, you can get the we send out the replay vault, and we'll send you the link to the replay vault right now. As well, the link for that. Does anyone have any questions about any of this? This is helpful for everybody. Yeah. Jesus, so this is funny you say this. As a controller for a nonprofit, financial statement reviews were invaluable in the flux analysis. So the reason that I'm so crazy is because I was a controller and financial manager of nonprofit. That was my entire career. So when I talk about my boardroom, it was all nonprofit. That's my entire career. So I was reporting not just to the IRS, I was also reporting to multi-million-dollar grant associations, federal grants, state grants. And so my background was very intricate, and that is probably why I became a really good CFO, because it was insane. The level of detail, having to know exactly where all my money was and where it was being allocated was so incredibly important. And I didn't have the liberty of just hoping for the best. It was like I would get my grants ripped away from me if I wasn't perfect, right? So such an important piece of what I did. Yeah. I'm glad that you guys found this valuable. I wanted to bring something just a little more tactical and like really talk about the tactical, practical of partnering with your clients to increase your profits. And I hope you guys can see how I didn't talk about like really increasing your profitability, but this takes you from being like a $75 an hour person to really a $250 to $300 an hour person. When you can bring this level of expertise, and it's this stuff that I talked about is not hard. It really isn't hard. I mean, my level of what I did at when I was a controller and CFO in a nonprofit, that was hard, right? But I'm not asking you to do that. What I'm asking you to do is just partner a little more with your clients and really support them by giving them more of an analysis, being there to support them, talking to them a little bit more, asking them, hey, how can I further support you so you can be a partner? And what was my specific niche? My niche really found me. I ended up in mostly dental and holistic health. As soon as I got out of nonprofit, I knew I would never go back. I walked away from nonprofit twice, 3 times. God, I walked away from nonprofit 3 times, and I kept walking away. And I was like, I can never do nonprofit again. It's a lot. And keep in mind, I was managing like a $39 million nonprofit as a CFO, and it's intense. It was very stressful. And when you're managing that much money, that are federal grants, and if you lose those grants, it's people's jobs on the line. It was a lot. So, when I walked away from it, I vowed to never go back. Also, I know this isn't at all what it's about, but the other thing about nonprofit is they have a way of creating a belief system that that you're like doing, it's like the greater good for working for such little money. Like the amount of money I was making doing that job and having such high stress was stupid. Like the most I ever made as a nonprofit CFO was probably $62,000. And I mean, we make that in like a $62,000 a month is an emergency for me now. Right. And so that's some perspective on that. Like, and I do so much greater good now. And that's my point in that is nonprofit, they pay so little to their staff, the people who are really trying to make a difference. And we go into nonprofit because we want to make a difference. We're mission and impact driven, right? And so they manipulate you into thinking that you making less is for the greater good. But the reality is I make more money now. I pay my people now more than I ever even freaking made, doing very high stress work, wearing all kinds of hats because I was understaffed constantly. And I've changed more lives than I ever changed working in those jobs. And so it's just like the manipulation in nonprofit was just so crazy. And if you're still in nonprofit, sorry. Sorry, but I'm all for profit these days in my life because I mean, and here's the thing, I grew up in families, we were all in nonprofit. My stepmom worked for the YMCA. She's the vice president. My dad was in the military, and then he was he's not the vice president, but he was very high up in a company called Pathstone, which helped women and children with get housing after leaving abusive relationships. I was in nonprofit for years, And my mom was in nonprofit for years. And so I come from a nonprofit mission driven background. That's what I was raised to believe was that's the work we should do. We should help people. We should support people. And when I left, I was literally handed a job as a controller back in nonprofit. And then I was handed another job back in nonprofit. And it took me walking away 3 times because my family kept pulling me back in. They'd be like, no, there's nothing wrong with this. Like, we're doing good work here. So it was really hard. But it was awesome because my stepmom and my dad got to come to my event this past, and some of you that are on here may have got to meet my step McCurran's on here. And she got to meet my stepmom and my dad, and they got to see the work that I did. And my stepmom walked away from that experience, and she was like, I'm really proud of you. And I'm really proud. And she's like, you've really helped me see more than anyone that money isn't bad and making money gets to make a bigger impact. And she's like, I worked in nonprofit and I never got to have that belief system. And she's like, it's really cool. It's really cool to see you with this mission and to see you like making this impact. So it's really cool to like get her to see my belief system when for so long she is the one who was like, she's the one who was like, here, take this job, here, keep working in nonprofit. And I was like, no, stop trying to get me to stay here. I'm done. So, but I gotta go. I gotta start another call. I love you guys. I hope this was good. Yes. Yeah, I feel that. So keep coming. I'll be back again tomorrow. We're going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard for the money marketing meeting. If you're not registered for our meetings at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard, make sure you get registered for them. We'll have a post tomorrow morning, I think, about it, about the meeting. Tomorrow, we're going to have Roger Connect on. And I think we're going to talk about his event that is in Utah. And so it should be fun. So I'll talk to you guys later.